Good morning, everybody. Hello. Hey, it's Becky from Power Tools with Thread. You are in our Stitchuation room, and this is a Monday through Friday virtual stitching retreat, 8 a.m. Central, where you hang out with me in here in my sewing room, and I hope I can inspire you to put something under the needle. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it through another week. Yay! How fun. Right? I always say, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Something's got to get, oh, look what I have here. Let's get this taken care of. Mom, I'm here. Please pay attention to me. Can you stand those ears, you guys? This is Dottie. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Hello, hello. There's Miss Dottie. There you go. And this is Frito. This is our little rescue over here, Frito. Yeah, she's is such a good big sister, y'all. I would not be able at all to my relationship with this puppy would be extremely different if I did not have Frito to show her the ropes. So Dottie went to the vet yesterday. She's almost 12 pounds. She's doing so good, and she's healthy as can be. They're very happy. And now we're going to get a couple of rawhide chews, and we are going to go somewhere else so we don't get in my cords. Come on. Let's go out here, y'all. Come on, good girls. Come on, come on. Good girls. Come here, Frito. There's yours, and Dottie, there's yours. All right, you guys, be good. Frito would normally lay down in here on a mat and then chew her stick for a little while, and all will be good. Well, the problem, Dottie doesn't do that. Dottie, once she's done with her stick, it's time to play, and she gets loud with her growling and romping. So yes, it is a great Friday. Thank you. Thank you. Looks like both her ears are standing now. Well, Peggy, the right one was up and the left kind of wasn't, and now they've changed. So the right one likes to flop, but when she's looking back, it's up. So we've still got a little bit of time, maybe another month or so. I was wondering if perhaps they were roughhousing too much and some cartilage might have gotten broken, in rough play. I don't know. But the vet didn't seem real worried about it. Keith took her. I didn't. Thank you, everybody, for my adorable pups. They are cute. Oh, my goodness. So lots of work yesterday on the multi-needle, and I want to show you guys how I did a certain stitch. I finished up. Oh, before we get started, let me double check what. Today is Giveaway Friday. Woohoo! And hashtag Enchanted, because we are doing Enchanted Winter from Kimberbell. Hashtag Enchanted will get you, U.S. shipping only, please, Frost Hill from the On Wander Lane series by Nancy Halverson for Art to Heart. And this gives you plenty of time to make up some of these before Christmas or January, because this is the January book. And then my husband made, the other day, you guys saw that little purple box on top of my scan and cut. Well, he made another one, and it says "Go sew something" on it. So it's a neat little box. It is specifically designed for the scan and cut. It fits right in that little groove on the top. It's got 3 little compartments and a dust cover lid. Very cute. So going to someone. So if you don't have a scan and cut, you can use it just to keep bobbins and, spare seam ripper ends or whatever you need in there. So very cute. Hashtag Enchanted. It all lowercase, uppercase, it does not matter. Let me take a look and see that it's working. It is. We already have 209 entries. We leave in a couple hours for Houston. I am going to Quilt Market. Yay! I'm not going to go over to the convention center tonight. Tonight is I think it's tonight. It's called Spree. And that's where the buyers for all the fabrics show up really late in the evening. And they sit there for hours and hours and pick they go over all the new collections coming out for the next year and pick them up. So, and make their orders. So a lot of quilt shops will be there and other vendors, dealers and that kind of thing. So that's not me. All right. And then tomorrow and Sunday, we'll probably come home on Sunday. I'm only going to spend one day at market. But tomorrow is when I'll go there and I'm going to give you guys a tour of the new stuff coming out from some of these fabric manufacturers. And I'm going to meet with vendors and that kind of thing. So it's very exciting. I don't know if I'm going to get into walk around and see the quilts like I did in previous years. I'm having big time issues with my sciatic nerve on my left side, and walking is not a lot of fun. So I have to limit my amount of time that I can move around. So it's very easy to wander for an hour in those quilts. I do like getting in there just at least to see the winners and all of that, but it's a lot of walking. You can walk 1.5 miles in that room where all those quilts are. So anyway, yes, happy Friday. Thank you, Patty. Happy Friday. So yeah, yesterday I spent a considerable amount of time working on the Joy pillow, and I finished the quilt top. Look at this. Didn't that come out just beautiful? I love the background quilting on it. I did 2 passes of the 8x14, 7x13. If you, and some fractions, right? If you watched yesterday morning, you saw me decrease the size because I was using that aftermarket 14x14 hoop. Did not want to take the chance of damaging my machine. So I went just a little bit smaller and took these down by like 5% with no trouble at all. It worked out beautifully. And then I used the Cool Mist, I think that was the name of the thread, to background quilt this, or Cool Mint. Same color as the green fabric, and it turned out just beautiful. Now, I had shown you guys on Embrilliance that I wanted to do the blanket stitch. Well, I stuck true to pattern. I want to show you how I did that. But look, I was able to get, I would make it a little bit wider, the satin stitch with the pretty decorative stitch on top. And it worked out just beautiful. So I wanted to show you how I did that for those of you that are snap-pliqueing your letters like I did. Snap-plique is I took the paper pattern, scanned it into the Scan and Cut, and created vector graphics, imported those into my Embrilliance embroidery software, Stitch Artist 3, and created the embroidery design. So I didn't have to sew them down manually by my domestic machine. I created an embroidery design and my 10 needle did it for me. Very, very nice. Thank you, guys. Yeah, the decorative stitch on the satin. Let me show you how that is done. If you are interested in doing this, and here's the pattern. They did not do the thread that you could see in the background. They just did a big crosshatch. But see, they've got that decorative stitch on there. Okay. Thank you, Erin. She says it turned out beautiful. It did. I'm very happy with it. I think I need to order a 12x18 pillow form or something to that effect. I don't have anything. I was thinking, if I was ambitious enough and had enough of the fabric, that's a beautiful placemat. It's gorgeous. It would look lovely on my table. So let me jump into Embrilliance. I want to just show you how I did this. Let me get back over here. And I'm going to share my screen with y'all. I think you're going to enjoy it. We're going to go to an infinity screen here for just a minute, real quick. And then let me get back into Embrilliance. So here's the Y right here. And you can tell that this is the vector graphic. It says .svg on there. Let me get back into Stitch Artist. You clicking this button right here. And I'm going to get rid of these two. Whoop. I'm going to get rid of these. Let me hit delete. Whoop. Wrong. Click, delete, click, delete. Oh, don't want to do that. Control Z. On this particular one, I'm going to click on this box and make it. So now it's just a line. This is what it looks like when it is imported. When I click the vector button and I import that Y, that's exactly what it looks like. So the first thing I need to do is to turn it into applique. And to do that, the default is an E-stitch that looks like this. Now, this is not a properties button. This is just the button. See, it says digitize and applique. Okay, I need to get my phone so that make sure that you guys can see what I'm seeing. Okay. So when I click that button, first I have to click this and then click that button. There you can see all the nodes and everything that are making up that Y. Now it's an applique and it doesn't have any decorative stitching on it. Okay. So if I click the applique now in the objects panel, the default is an E stitch. It says border. It means final stitch, right? So that's the default. You could do it as a blanket stitch or whatever, but you need to click on it and you need to be in Stitch Artist in order to be able to see the applique tab. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to go to satin. Now the density is 5, which is fine. My satin width, the default is 3. I would have made that 4 or 5 and do a test stitch. I kind of wish it was just a little bit wider, but it turned out beautiful even with 3. Okay, so that's good. That's an applique. And we can tell if we come to the color tab, it has the placement line and the final stitch. I made it orange so you could see it because it came in yellow. So that's the final stitch. Well, I just want to click on the applique and over here on the stitches, I'm going to right click and copy. Right click and paste, or you can paste over just to make sure it's on top. So see, it says applique again. It's sitting right on top of the original stitching. So if you were to stitch this out as is, it would satin stitch over everything twice. We don't want that, right? So now I'm going to, that this is selected, I want to make this a run stitch. Now that it's a run stitch, see it changed from applique to run, all right? Now that it's a run stitch, you can do a single, that really won't show. A double is what I use if it's going to be like a line for a leaf or, I don't know, something, just detail stitching, decorate, whatever. But the bean stitch did a beautiful stitch on top. Now I want to change this run. Since the run is only a single, it's not applique. When I come to color, that applique position is gone. It's just this, and I'm going to click it, and let's make it black so you can see it. Okay, and click that, and there it is. So that's how you create a satin stitch with a decorative top stitch. Look at that. Fantastic, huh? Good stuff. Easy peasy too. Once you know what button to click and when, isn't that the story of life everywhere, right? I need to remove that. And there we go. Okay. So that's how I did that. Totally fun. Love it. Love it. It is fast. You're absolutely right. And it's so, Embrilliance is just so user-friendly. I've used other software, you guys, and I click around and I'm like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I just don't understand. So let's see here. What'd you say? You need Stitch Artist to do that right. Yes, Sue, when you are creating stitches from nothing, you do need Stitch Artist. Now, to import that vector graphic, you need Stitch Artist too. I have a link to Embrilliance below. There's not a coupon out right now. So, depending on how bad you want it, right? So anyway, I just want to let you guys know about that. So yeah, today is, you need me to come to your house and train you on all these programs. I know. All right, you guys. Let me check the giveaway tool, make sure it's 488. Today's giveaway is, and this is courtesy of Lady M. She's the benefactor of my channel. So Frost Hill, and this is the book you'll need. You can get stuff going coming up for Christmas or whatever. This is part of the On Wander Lane series. Thank you, Lady M, for sharing this with me to give to my viewers. And my husband made from his 3D printer. He's having a ball with that, you guys. Thank you, Lynn, for your super sticker. You're very thoughtful. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a cool trick to know, isn't it? Cheap class, right? Cheap class. Got a little accessory box right here. It says go sew something on it. And it has 3 little trays, 3 little compartments, and a dust cover. This is designed to sit on top of your Scan and Cut. It fits in that little well right on the top of the Scan and Cut. All right, so today I wanted to stitch the deer friend, like starting a letter, dear friend, dear friend. I wanted to get that started. I have got everything ready to go on a design board right here. I actually have my stuff together today, which is very cool. And I have got the background fabric, and it is all of the fabrics. All 3 pieces need to be backed with the fusible woven. Okay, so that is on all of these. You can see it on there. And I have a scrap of batting. I love these projects for batting scraps. Hopefully it's big enough. If not, I'll have to go hunting for another one. And today we're going to use the glitter vinyl. This is the ice that the deer is standing on. Okay. And if you bought the embellishment kit, the glitter vinyl comes in the embellishment kit. You might have a scrap from a previous project, so go looking for that, right? But I have got the buttons. Now, this button right here sits on top of the deer's head. I don't know. I think I'm just going to let the machine stitch the buttons. So if you did not buy the embellishment kit, there are embroidery steps, color stops in the design for you to just stitch it out, and then you can save the button for something else. Or if you don't have the button, you can just do that. I like that about these, is that, you know, that I shy from buttons because when the quilt is in storage, they get hung up on things and it can put stress on it if they're the threads and whatnot. And I'm lazy. I do not want to hand stitch a button on. I don't even want to get out the glue gun and hot glue the button on. Sometimes you really need to for effect, like that ice cream cone, right? I don't know if that's an embroidery design in there or not. I haven't looked at that pattern yet, but this is what we're going to do today. And I want to show you yesterday, I stitched up the snowbird, and I wanted to show you how I'm going to trim it up using the trimmer by George. I talk a lot about that. Oh, I meant to put this below in the description box. I'm going to do that right when we get done. I promise. I thought I had it together today. So this is the trimmer by George. I have the wrong rotary cutter over here for this too. It has a metal lip on it. Okay. And it is designed to trim away the batting and the back, the stabilizer all in one go and make it nice and neat. So I need to get Sharon, thank you so much for your super sticker, sweetie. That's very thoughtful. More batting. Yay. Let me go get that big rotary cutter. You need the big, I think is it the 60 millimeter? Yes. You need the 60 millimeter rotary cutter to work with this, okay? And again, if I don't have a link to this below, I might. There's a section down in the description box that says around my sewing room. The trimmer by George might be in there. So take a look at that. That's a sponsored link for me. I'd appreciate it if you'd use it. If it's not, I'll look after the video. If it's not there, I'll put it there right away. So let's look at this. You can use a mat on a mat to rotate, but you really don't need to. So I'm going to bring you guys down a little bit so you can see better. The Dritz 45 works okay, Midge, but it can leave the Dritz 45. Yes, not the Olfa. So Olfa has a button right here, and it gets it doesn't allow a clean cut. The blade can't get deep enough. The blade is not even touching the mat on a 45. If you have this one, not even touching the mat, doesn't work. So that's why they recommend, if you're going to use an Olfa, that you use the 60. If you have one of those rotary cutters that doesn't have this, maybe it's designed differently, they'll work. So give it a try and check it out. But I wanted to show you this. This is a game changer when it comes to doing these designs, these tiled designs that all go together to make one big project. Now, I just fold back the fabric also, and I'll show you this in Brilliance. I don't have that outer line, that basting, That's not there. I got rid of that. Okay. So I'm going to do like this. Okay. So this is just the top background fabric, and it's got that SF101 adhered to it. And I'm folding this over. And then I'm going to take this and trim it. Okay. And look what you get. Look how perfect that is. Nice and clean and easy. So nice. And then what you're supposed to do is, okay, so we've cut it, you flip it back like this, and now there is a dotted 1/2 inch line right there, okay? And I put that 1/2 inch dots, that's a seam allowance, and I trim that. Okay. So simple to do this. Fold this back. Now, if you accidentally cut your pretty fabric, that's fine. It can be fixed. I've done it. Wrong one. I've done it. I'm going to do this. Okay. That. And flip it over and do my 1/2 inch. I should put this away and just use the same rotary cutter so I don't get confused. This is so much better than trimming in the hoop. Okay. It's just amazing because you have to trim these down anyway. So this just alleviates you from having to trim anything in the hoop in order to get it to the right size. And it is so quick. Okay, and the last one. I'm doing a couple blocks a day on this Enchanted Winter. There are 11 thread colors in the palette that they want you to use. And I have 10 of them on the back of the machine. The 11th one I left out is the burnt orange, which is for the beak on that little penguin. There we go, guys. Look at this. Just perfect with a little 1/2 inch seam allowance. Look at that. Look how clean that is and easy and trimmed pretty. And I didn't have to take scissors to it and trim the batting in the hoop. You got to love that thing. So now when I sew, I'm going to match these inside, right? I will stitch right inside of that line right there. I will stitch right inside of that. And that way this line is captured in the seam allowance and you won't see it. Isn't that adorable? That bird is too cute. Look at those decorative stitches on that tail. Y'all, Kimberbell got it going on. This is adorable. So let's make the little deer. Shall we? Yeah, you learn a lot from me, Hope. I'm just full of it. Trial and error, you guys, trial and error. Let's go over to my computer and I want to make that deer design. I'm going to put the background quilting in it. I'm going to manipulate it a little bit to get rid of that outer line that I don't need. And then get everything put together and send it using the design database transfer over to my Spanky, my 10 needle. Yeah. Yes. So Sue used that trimmer by George when she made the Christmas tree skirt. Let me tell you what, that you need that tool when you do that. I'm not sure what the question was. It's because it makes this seams easier to iron open with it. Yes. So I use a 1/2 inch seam allowance because it is easier to press the seams open. Let me get some pieces from Autumn Love and show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go over to the other side of my room over here. When I iron together these house pieces, okay, when I put these together, I use the trimmer by George to trim it up. Okay. I also use the wool seam roll and a clapper. And look how perfect the smoke lines went together and the house eaves went together. See that? There's a trick to that. But look at the back. Those 1/2 inch seam allowances allow you to really get those open and I put them on top of the seam roll. And so now the seam roll has them, you know, they're laying up at an angle, and they've got the weight of the fabric to pull and help. Then I just ironed it and I steam the fire out of it. Okay. I steam, and then I take my clapper and I plop it on top of that. You can do it flat on an ironing board. You'll get a better result with a wool pad underneath it to absorb the moisture. Okay. And I just press the heck out of it, and you get a beautiful seam as a result. So the 1/2 inch seam allowance is definitely the way to go whenever you're going to be making these kinds of projects. A 1/4 inch seam allowance works, of course, but you don't get that nice flat. They kind of stick up. You can, anyway. So that's how I trim with the trimmer by George on my blocks. Okie dokie. You try your, quilt wench, give that a try. She says she'll try her seam roll. You bought the thing, right? You bought it. You might as well do it. I'm going to come over here. Oh my goodness. Let's get to StreamYard. Not StreamYard. Yeah, StreamYard. That's where I want to go, because I need to be able to get into the studio here. And I need to plug in my microphone for this camera. I think that'll work. Turn this off, and I need to mute this. Mute. Okay. With the wool pad, anyone tried it? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely use steam with wool. It'll smell like a sheep. Yeah, use steam. Absolutely. No sound. Oh. We got sound. Yeah, I muted you guys for a second. Sound is on. Excellent. Yeah, you want to, there's nothing wrong with using steam. Nothing at all. It'll smell like a farm. Yeah, here I am. Okay, great. Well, I have to mute one and then turn the other on before I turn it on and then mute the other, because it'll echo and it's bad. And anyway, all right. So I'm going to go into Brilliance. We're going to get our infinity screen for a second. Okay, there's my background quilting from before yesterday. So let's build this deer. I'm going to hit delete. And in my folders, I'm going to go to Enchanted Winter. I made a shortcut over here. Okay. I need my book to tell me what I'm doing. All right. And I need to get the Plant 15 6x8 for the background quilting. I'm going to use this, the Plant and the 6x8. I guess I could go into the other one, but this is fine. I'll just, because I want that line. The reason I did not use, okay, let me come back here. The reason I didn't use background quilting only is because, look, let me go and make this bigger. Well, it does have these lines, does it? Huh, it's got those lines. That's weird. I think I put the wrong files in the wrong spot. All right, we'll disregard. Okay, so I have the background quilting 6x8 plant 15. And then I need the designs and dear friend. Here it is. Pull it in. All right. There we go. I'm going to get rid of, so this is that inner line, inner placement, inner tack down. This is the outer line I don't need. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. If I've got that there, I can't use the trimmer by George as close as I would like. And I'm going to get rid of the last one. And there it is. Very simple. Okay, I'm going to file, save stitch file as in my EMB designs folder, and it's dear friend. PES, I'm going to save that. All right, and now I want to get to my brother design database transfer. There he is, right there. We're going to give it a minute to think because it takes forever. There we go. First things first, change my send to Spanky. Gypsy is my travel machine. Spanky is my 10 needle. This, put it here. This only works on a Windows machine, you guys. That's why I'm doing it on my desktop. It will not work on a Mac. Okay. All right. So let me. There we go. Okay. I think we're back. Good. Cameras. Yay. You're going to do the replay when this is over, Sandy? That's the best way to do this, is because that way you know you can stop it and watch and do, right? So I have my no-show mesh stabilizer in here, okay? Let me move this out of the way and turn you guys so you can see what I'm doing. All right. There's me and my hubby on Spanky. Okay, that's my son and daughter-in-law. My son flew out yesterday for Japan. They have a missionary that they sponsor over in Japan, and his wife, the missionary's family's, the wife is flat on her back with a baby due. So my son went over there to help. So he'll be there for 10 days. I'm trying to step around all these cords so I can get this frame where it needs to be. Oh, yesterday I was using that new 14x14 frame. I got a couple of error messages that popped up on it that said something like unable to determine start and end points and change to a larger frame and all of that. Every time I did a design using that 14x14 frame, this inner screw back here, not the one out here on the edge, but the one here in the middle, those of you that have this machine, it rattled loose, and that was the problem. I just kept clicking OK and got out of it and let it recycle, and everything was fine. I didn't have to turn it off. It did fine. So, all right, let's take a look here. And I'm going to go to wireless. And my deer is right there, very handy. The pattern combo is too large. We're going to rotate it. And I'm going to tell it, rotate 90. Okay, that's good. Now, because it's doing this, I just want to make sure I don't do anything stupid. And I'm going to take a placement sticker and stick it somewhere out here. That's the front, or right on it or something. And that way, this is the right-hand corner always, and I don't end up putting the hoop in backwards, because you can put the hoop in backwards here. Okay. Yeah, y'all do a hashtag Enchanted. You're going to get a Frost Hill from On Wander Lane and an accessory box for your scan and cut. U.S. shipping only, please. We're at 652 entries. Excellent. Love it, love it. All right, so let's get to stitching on this, shall we? I'm going to tell it set. And now I need to look at the book and I need to find out what colors to stitch when. Get my book here. And one of the nice things they did with Enchanted Winter that I have not seen in previous designs is they give you not only the color chip, but also, so this color chip is labeled A, all right? And then on these, in the color palette in the book, let's see, there's the fabric. Let me get to the color for the threads. The color palette in the book, they labeled the chips as well, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, that's what I did here. I put them in order. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, etc. Because I've got 1 through 10 needles on the back. Edit end, I'm not rotating or resizing or anything. I'm going to tell it edit end. And this is where I need to go through and tell the machine which needle to use based on the threads given in the book. Okay. Let me get back to that page. I wanted to do this one so you guys could see how to do the ice that the deer is standing on. Okay, that's that glitter vinyl. This is good. All right, so I'm going to touch these 3 spools right here that I can see. If you have this machine fresh out the box and your 3 spools are grayed out, go into your properties and go over to page 8 in your properties. Oh, I'm sorry, 7. And where it says manual color sequence, turn that on. By default, it is off in the machine. Turn it on. Okay, I'm going to touch that. And here, let me get you into the screen so you can see. Okay, these are your color stops. There are 20 of them. Now, you see we're on 1 through 20. We have a preview of what's going to stitch. And these numbers right here correspond to the spools on the back of the machine. We have a stop, so I can do applique. We have a do not stitch and okay. All right. So stitch number 1 is the placement line for the batting and the fabric. Because I got rid of those other lines, I'm going to stitch that on spool number 1. What the heck? And then before it stitches, I'm going to go to stitch number 2. Before it stitches, I want it to stop. This machine does not read stitch, then stop. It reads stop, then stitch this way, backwards. So before it stitches, color stop number 2, I'm going to put up my hand. I want it to stop so I can put my batting and my fabric down. And then I want it to use spool number 1 and watch the 2 will change to a 1. Same color to stitch all that down. That looks great. Okay. Now, if you, on a regular machine, you would want it to, well, you would want it to stop again so you could trim away the batting and all that. Okay. I don't care about that because I'm using the trimmer by George. If you're not using the trimmer by George, anyway, you would want to trim that away. But this is color A in the design is number 1. And I don't need to trim around anything because I'm using the trimmer by George. There we go. And there's the ice. So the ice is the linen G, which is spool number 7. There's the placement line. And before it stitches the tack down, I need it to stop so I can put the vinyl on there. And then I want that to be spool number 7. Okay. And then there is the placement line for the outer deer. Before it stitches this, I need it to stop so that I can trim away the excess applique glitter. And then this is also spool 7, the linen. Okay, that's the placement line. Before it stitches, I need it to stop so I can put the fabric down. There's the tack down. So this is how you do it. You got to go through and think about the process of applique. There's the inner placement line for the inside of the deer. Before it stitches that, I need it to stop so I can trim around the outside area of the deer. Spool number 7. Same goes, same. I just keep hitting pause 7, pause 7. All right. pause, 7. We're going to, okay, now there's my antlers. Before the antlers stitch, I need that to stop so that I can trim away the fabric from the ears. And that is color number 10, spool number 10. Okay, I'm going to flip over on another page here in the book. We're rocking and rolling through this. That is color J, which is the antler fills. Okay, and now we're going to do the outer body satin outlines, which is spool number 8. And I don't need it to stop. Now that we've done all the applique, it's freewheeling from here. 8, I don't have to stop it anymore. Okay, and then the next one is G, which is spool number 7. And the next color is J, the eye details, that's spool number 10. Whoop, what is that? I think I did that wrong. Outer body, inner body. Let me go back and make sure I've got this right. Okay, antlers, outer body, inner body is spool number 7. See? Is that right? That's supposed to be 8. There we go. That was my problem. And then this is 10. See, I can see in the preview what it's supposed to be. And those are, that is like a white, right? Let's see. Optional stitching. Okay, so to stitch the leaves fill, this is E, which is stitch number 5, and it already says that, so that's good. You can stop right here if you're going to put the button on, but I'm not going to. F is spool number 6. It already is 6. The next one is E, which is spool number 5. And then, let's see. The next stitch is B, which is spool number 2. And C is spool number 3. And G is spool number 7. And we're done. There we go. Awesome. All done. I'm going to tell it okay. Embroidery. And we're ready. Very cool. Just got to sit here and go through it and think about it a minute. Ta-da. Deborah, make sure, go ahead and put in your thing again. It's hashtag Enchanted all together. Don't put a space. Let's see where we're at. 7:13. Excellent, excellent. All righty. So the giveaway today, US shipping only, please, is Frost Hill from On Wander Lane. Thank you, Lady M, for sharing this with me to give to my viewers. And then my husband, Keith, made an accessories box for the top of the Scan and Cut. It fits right on there. It says, go sew something. And if you don't have a Scan and Cut, you can just use it for other little notions in your sewing room. Like, it's a good spot for bobbins. This is perfect, right? Filled bobbins, empty bobbins, other stuff. Yeah. Colored bobbins. Oh my goodness. I go through bobbins. All righty. Yeah, Keith's a sweetheart. He popped in this morning. I made another box. You can give it away. I said, okay, I'm happy to do that. I think we're ready to go. Let's press a button. Let me get my board with my goodies on it. So they tell you to trim up these blocks with the orange pop ruler. But if you don't have orange pop rulers, you can use the trimmer like George and it'll come out just perfect. The orange pop rulers actually trim away that outer basting line. Check my last few colors. All right, I will. It's fine. I can't do anything about it now, but there is a there is a what is it called? A magic wand at the bottom. This button right here. Oh, you can see it. It's next to the needle plus minus. It's right there. That one you can change your thread colors on the fly. And I will. And you want me to do that. I don't see if I go backwards now. All right. Let me see if I can do that. You guys are saying my colors are wrong on the end. It didn't seem like it to me, but I'll trust you. All right. And if I need to change them, I will. So the colors on the optional stitch F is spool 6. Let's see if I got this right. Let me go into needle plus minus and come on down. Actually, it'll be easier to go backwards, I think, because the frame is moving. Okay, so that is spool number, oh, I said 10, didn't I? And it should be 7. You guys were right. That should be spool number 7. I have to tell it okay, and then I can go into the magic wand and make it 7. Okay. Let me go backwards. And that one is 3. What happened? Let's see. Is that right? I need to go into needle plus minus. Okay. That one is, why did that do that? What was I looking at? Spool number 3? Yeah. You guys were right. What was I doing? Good night. All right. Needle plus minus. Go backwards. That should be 2. Huh. Okay. You can only, let me see here. Okay. Then after that, that should be 5. Boy, you guys were right. Good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. This needs to be, E is spool 5. Boy, that would have been ugly. I'd have been picking that out or throwing a button over it, huh? Okay. And this is stitch 6. That one's correct. What was I doing? Good Lord, what was I doing? All right, so this is good now. See, so you can go back in during a stitch and fix all that. Okay. Okay, so there's 1 and 2. This is where I'm at right now. Tell it okay. All right, that is very helpful. I did that on purpose so y'all would know how to be able to fix that. Hey, these things happen. So you can maneuver around in this. You know what? That's one of the reasons I got rid of the, I had another multi-needle years ago, not of the same manufacturer, and I could not figure out how to do that on the fly. This is why I love the Brother machine. So Baby Lock, same thing. That'll let you do it. All right, so let's go ahead. I need to put the padding. Is this going to fit? It's big enough, and it's wide enough, and my scrap fits. Yay. Awesome. Okay. Let me get this. Put it down on here. Very nice. Make sure that's all fitting in nice and snug. Everything's good. All right. Boy, I don't know what I was thinking on that. Woo. That was a test and I passed. Thanks, Janet. Yay. Woohoo. Gold star for me. Y'all, this is what's fun in my sewing room. Fun. Just goofing around. I can see y'all sitting there in front of your TV. No, you saw an old version of me using Pacesetter BES4. Is it not a good program anymore? It appeared easier to do Snapplique. My thoughts. All right, Belch Cats. So that program works great for Snapplique for shapes. It works great. You will not have a problem. It's jumping into the background quilting. Okay. So the problem with that software is, well, it has 2 problems. One is the default when you tell it applique, create applique, the default is a satin stitch, which works beautiful. And sometimes when you tell it, make it a blanket stitch, it only does part of the design, not all of it. That can be overcome by you at home. You can finish that on a domestic, okay? I can't do that on my YouTube channel. I have to have my software work correctly every time. So that's the reason I stopped using BES or Simply Applique, because of that little weird bug in it. And also, like if you wanted to digitize a little eyeball, okay, and make a circle for an eyeball on a face or the deer or whatever it is you're doing, you cannot do that in Simply Applique or BES. You got to go into the fonts and use a period and resize it to make it right. You cannot do any drawing in that program. It's, oh, you like the watch band? Isn't that pretty? I just got that. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love the tan sand colors. I got it on Amazon. It came yesterday. Love it. Thank you. I wanted something pretty. Is anyone having an issue watching the first video from the membership? I've heard people, some people have watched it and it's in a different language. I don't know what server that one hit. I have heard of people, if the YouTube that they joined on, the account they joined on, and then they go to a different device and it's not the same YouTube account, you won't be able to see it. So to me, Brilliance is just a better software because it's inexpensive as embroidery software goes. You can use it on as many machines as you like for the rest of your life. You're not limited to only 2 installs, which is how BES and Simply Applique are. Those 2 programs only work on a Windows machine. So if you have a Mac and Brilliance, you can't use that program. There's also no dongle that has to go in there. It's just, and you only pay for what you need, right? So if you don't need digitizing, because you're never going to do Snapplique, you don't have to buy that. And that's really nice. It's like a la carte. And I love that about that. All right, so now we're getting into the placement line for the ice. And what you need to do is peel away the clear cover on this vinyl. Now, I don't have my iron over here, and I'm not going to run it across the room, so I'm just going to tape it down and call it good. Okay, because they want you to use the heat press, and I mean, not a heat press, but a iron sheet cover thing. Ah. I'm just going to put some tape on it to hold it down. So I pulled the clear cover off of it, all right? And we do not put our fingers anywhere near the needles when on a multi-needle. Ever, 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 ever. Oh my gosh, y'all, I see people doing that. It makes me crazy. You know, you see people all the time. Don't put pins in your mouth. Well, don't swallow if you have a pin in your mouth. There's that, right? As my dad used to say, use your head, girl. Pay attention to safety measures. Don't put your fingers when the needles are going, especially on these multi-needles. They'll turn on you in an instant, and you will not know what hit you, except a trip to the emergency room. Safety first. Okay. Tack down. All right. Perfect comeback. Yeah. Yeah, keep your fingers out of it. I had a car accident when I was 17 or 18 years old. I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. and there was a June bug on my pantyhose. Y'all remember pantyhose? I was on my way to work, and I'm driving to work in my little neighborhood. It was right by the Kmart in Olympia, over here in Universal City. Slammed right in. This June bug was on my pantyhose, and I freaked. I'm like, ah, and I'm banging it off, and I slammed right into a telephone pole. And I broke some ribs on the steering wheel, broke my jaw in 2 places. And my dad, he says, what happened? And I told him, and he goes, why weren't you wearing your seatbelt? And I said, it's hot, I came up with something stupid because I was 17. And he said, just keep putting your face into it, girl, and you'll figure it out. My dad called me girl a lot. Come here, girl. He was an old crotchety aircraft maintenance guy off flight line at Randolph Air Force Base. And he used to tell me that all the time. Use your head. God put a head on your shoulders. Use it. Yeah. And today, when you say stuff like that to kids, they're like, oh, you're cruel. Yeah, well, look how I turned out. Able to handle the cruelties of life. Yeah. All righty. So I have this glitter stitched on here now. Put your face into it. I know my father was hilarious when I think about it. He was such a great guy. He really was. He'd come, if I got in trouble or something, he'd feel bad for fussing at me. I'd be in my room sulking, and he'd come up. We had a Dairy Queen over in Live Oak where I used to live. And he'd come over to me, stick his head in the door after about an hour or so after me being in trouble or whatever. And he'd go, you want to go get a dip cone? Yeah. And we solved our differences and made up over dip cones at Dairy Queen. I'd be like, okay, I'll go get a dip cone with you. He was awesome. I miss him every day. Every day I miss my dad. Okay. There we go. So that is trimmed up and ready. And it's kind of ugly. It's not perfect, you guys. And it's fine because so I almost thought about putting this in the wrong way, but I got to look at my sticker I stuck on the outside. Okay. There we go. So that satin stitch is going to cover that ugly, so I'm not worried about that. And here's the outside of the deer, and that is going to be the very, very light gray with the dots. It's hard to tell. Turn your lights on when you're choosing these fabrics. It's the light gray with the dots. Lisa says, a lot of thought going on in that programming in the stitching sequence. Yes. When I first started, when I got this machine, I would print out in Brilliance, I would print out the stitch sequence page. It gives you all the color chips, okay, and each stop. And I would put a little star by where I needed to put the hand to stop the machine. So I would go through on the paper. There is a gnat in here driving me crazy. So I would go through on the paper and decide, gnat, what was going to happen when, and write it out on that stitch sequence. And that really helped me a lot. And sometimes I still do that on very difficult designs. Okay. Oh, there's our hour. It's up. But I did want to show you how to do the, I wanted to show you how to do that glitter vinyl. Okay. I can barely see the outline. There's an ear. There's an ear. I'm making sure I'm over 100% of the outline of the deer is completely covered. It's very difficult to see because it is on, it's that thread that linen color thread. You just can't even see it. I'm going to tape this down. Let's do our drawing. Last call, you guys. Hashtag Enchanted, US shipping only, please. For a copy of Frost Hill from On Wander Lane by Nancy Halverson for Art to Heart. And the accessory box that my husband made on his 3D printer that says, go say something. Very cool. All right, let's do this. Well, here we go. Devetta, congratulations. What a beautiful name, Devetta. I love that. Fantastic. Devetta, send me an email, powertoolswiththread@outlook.com. Y'all give the video a thumbs up, please, if you enjoyed the content. And Devetta, I will get this in the mail to you as soon as possible. You guys consider subscribing. This is an amazing way to start your day, have your coffee, or maybe end your day if you're over there across the pond, okay? I just love you guys. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I cannot wait to go to Quilt Market. I'm more excited for that than I am for Festival. So we will be out of here in a couple of hours, and I will talk to you guys soon. See you Monday. Y'all go sew something. Bye.